Thanks, Jesse. There's three things, broadly speaking, I'd like to do today. I'd like to talk about what this is, what is Darwinian fitness or Darwinian health. Second of all, I'd like to talk about why it's important. And then third, I want to talk about how we all can do it, how we can apply it, or how we can put this into practice. As Jesse said, the information I'm going to present on today comes from a course that we created down at SUNY New Paltz. The course is Evolution in Human Health. It's been approved by the curriculum committee, but we haven't taught it yet. Our hope is to teach it for the first time next summer, summer 2013. And I'm happy to talk more about this course at the end of my presentation. I plan to talk for maybe 25 minutes and then maybe 10 minutes for questions at the end. So what is Darwinian health? Well, let me first say that this has many different names. It gets called various things, and these are all basically synonymous. So the paleo approach, or the primal approach, or the Stone Age diet, or the caveman diet. All these things basically mean the same thing. The objective in each case is to optimize human health today. So it's just not about how to survive or get through the day, but how do we optimize human health? And how do we do that from an evolutionary perspective? What can we use from our ancestral past to help us live better today? Another way of phrasing this is to ask ourselves, what can we do to look, feel, and perform better? So why is this important? Well, I think it's obviously important on the personal level, on the individual level. We all want to look, feel, and perform better. But I think there's a bigger picture here as well, of course. And this is on a societal level. And I think that you would probably agree that our society as a whole is not looking very good, feeling very good, or performing very well overall. And I just put up a few examples here. We can talk about these diseases of civilization that Western societies suffer from, particularly in the United States. 2/3 of Americans are obese. 90% of Americans in our lifetime have high blood pressure. Metabolic syndrome, such as type 2 diabetes, is a major problem. And of course, cardiovascular disease remains the #1 killer, #1 cause of death here in the United States. All of this leads to an expensive healthcare system. This is a number from 2010. Health expenditures now are over $2.5 trillion annually. So obviously there's a huge cost here as well. So how do we fit evolution into this? What's the connection? What's the theory? The main idea is that there's a mismatch between the way our genes evolved and the modern lifestyle that we live today. And that if we can better align how we live, what we eat, how we move today with our ancestral heritage, our ancestral past, our ancestral inheritance, then we will have better health outcomes. I'm sure all of you here are familiar with the development of the genus Homo for the past 2.5 million years. And then the key point to recognize is that the Neolithic Revolution, the invention of agriculture, happened relatively recently in this time span. Only about 350 generations ago. So the way we started to eat and the way we move changed fundamentally about 10,000 years ago. And for some populations around the world, that's been much more recent. Native American populations, Inuits, for example, it's been very recent, in the past few hundred years. So the dramatic changes that come with the Neolithic Revolution, the invention of agriculture, that's a recent phenomenon. Even more recent, of course, is the creation of industrialized processed foods. This goes back only a few generations to the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century. And again, the way we moved, the way we lived, and the kinds of foods we ate, particularly refined foods, dramatically changed with industrialization. However, of course, right, the human genome has remained primarily unchanged, right, over this time period. It's a short amount of time, obviously, for adaptation or change. So the theory, again, is this fundamental mismatch. Okay, so what is this not? What is the Darwinian approach to health not? Well, first of all, it's not a historical reconstruction. It's not about giving up our genes for loincloths, or giving up our single-family homes or apartments for unheated caves, right? That's not the idea. In fact, it's impossible to go back to the past. Those foods, those Paleolithic foods, are no longer available. Plant species have changed. Animals have changed. We cannot, I mean literally cannot eat the foods from 10,000 years ago. Also, this is not a fad diet, right? It's not the Zone, it's not South Beach, it's not Atkins, it's not any of those things. This is, instead it's a holistic approach to human health from this evolutionary perspective. What this does, it gives us a unifying field theory to approach questions about nutrition and health. Right now, there is no guiding theory within the field of human nutrition. There's nothing like the Big Bang in cosmology. There's nothing like plate tectonics in geology. There's no overarching theory to put all the pieces together, to ask questions, to undertake experiments. Right? There's no unifying theory. This evolutionary approach provides this important theory. So it provides this unifying theory to do the science, but it also provides us as individuals a framework in which to view our lifestyle choices today. So what do I eat? How do I move? What can I do to optimize my health today? So what's the approach? How do we do this? Again, it's a holistic approach. I'm going to talk a bit more after this slide about nutrition and exercise, so I have separate slides on that. So let me say a few words about these other topics briefly, and then spend more time on nutrition and exercise. So in addition to nutrition and exercise, this evolutionary approach stresses the importance of social connections, right? Face-to-face social connections, not digital connections, not long-distance connections, but play, but face-to-face conversation, touch, that being connected to people in your family, your friends, in your community. Also, sleep quality is really important. This includes both duration, how long we sleep, but also how well we sleep while we're in bed. And this is known as sleep hygiene, right? So being in a room that's comfortably cool, with no artificial light, both of those things can lead to disruptions of sleep quality. So sleep length and sleep hygiene, very important.